Hey everyone, JP here, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about a post I saw on the Gear page the other day that got my attention. The thread was titled, "Ugh, no one knows how to record guitar amps." And as a guitarist, sound engineer, and someone passionate about amplifier tones, I had a lot of thoughts on this that I'd like to share. First, let me read his original post. I've been gigging for about 20 some years. Over that time, I've recorded a half dozen times, maybe 15 songs total. Most recently, it was with a major artist who does recording in between tours, etc. Super nice guy, and he's a good friend of our singer. He plays in a top-tier group and is a top-tier musician. I'm not saying who, so don't ask, please. Again, just the nicest guy you could ever meet. It never fails that studios never get the sound of amps, ever. When I listen to recordings of us live, sounds amazing. Studio is always sterile. No life or dynamics to it. It's fair at best. Pro recordings sound pretty amazing, mostly, but I don't know if that's the 18K mics, I guess he means $18,000 mics, the board, or the engineers. I know nothing about recording, but in my head, all guitar recordings should have both on the speaker and the room. I guess he means a mic on the speaker and the room. We played live in the room mostly, but the amp was isolated. Again, I've recorded us recently live, and we sound pretty dang good, end quote. Okay, first of all, we have no frame of reference for what this guitarist considers a good sound, or whether or not his sound would work within the context of a full band album mix. We have to lend a certain amount of credence to him on this. It's great that he's happy with his live tone, but that doesn't really tell us much at all. In a later reply, he said that his comparison was done with a Zoom stereo recorder aimed at the stage at one of his gigs. Comparing a distant live recording with a close-mic'd amp in a studio is like comparing a blurry, out-of-focus picture from 50 feet away with a zoomed-in, focused close-up. One will reveal details while the other obscures them. Sometimes revealing those details can be terrifying, which might be the case here. All of the warts and wrinkles have a magnifying glass on them now, and he's not used to hearing himself like that. What sounds good to your ear in a room is dependent on so many factors. The construction of the room, carpet or wood flooring, how much absorptive material like curtains or furniture is present, etc. Even a straight versus angled cab can make a massive difference in perception. The first time I gigged with one of those little tilt-back combo amp stands, it was like a revelation and required tweaking my settings to compensate for what I was used to hearing. That could be all that's happening here, the difference between a speaker at floor level aimed at the back of your legs versus ear level like a microphone captures. Sticking a microphone within a few inches of a speaker drastically minimizes most of the room or blur factors we mentioned, but if you're used to hearing your amp in a certain environment, you might miss that or think it was part of what made your rig great in the first place. It's entirely possible and almost a given that some changes to your settings or rig might benefit your sound in a recording studio versus playing live. In fact, I'd say it's a rare thing that a player's live rig works just as well in the studio as one might hope. Many pro-level players alter their rig after recording to recreate that tone live, rather than insisting on the inverse and forcing their live sound onto records. But some guitarists, in fact a lot of guitarists, are incredibly stubborn when it comes to making any changes whatsoever to what they deem sounds good. So they'll blame the engineer, who can only work with what they're given, and sometimes no amount of turd polish is enough to do the job. When the source is great, the engineer's job is easy, and it's actually kind of tough to screw up with a $75 mic, let alone an $18,000 model. Personally, I can usually get what I like with one or two close mics, and while a room mic can help, it's not always necessary. I think in this case, the player's perception of his sound versus the reality of what's actually coming out of the speaker are just two different things, and it'll take a bit more recording experience for him to rectify that. Hey, if you like this, please hit like and subscribe as always. I'll be back soon.